Radio. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. We are KLAV 1230 AM.
You're listening to KLAV Las Vegas.
Views and opinions expressed on the following program are those of the hosts and guests and not necessarily those of the staff or management of KLAV.
The sport of radio control racing has swept the nation, and Vegas RC Raceway is proud to present the first radio show in the nation to cover this rapidly growing sensation. So, without further delay, your hosts Eric Flynn and the Big Shane bring you Radio Control Race Chat.
Hey there, I'm Eric.
And I'm the Big Shane.
And this is RC Race Chat. Before we get started here, remember you can call in at 702-731-1230 if you have any questions about anything in the show. Later on in the show, we have Mikey Bustamante, driver for Losion, as well as a Hobbytown representative.
He's actually doing a live interview with us today.
First one.
That's pretty cool.
This is pretty cool. It's completely new, changes it up a little bit. But before we get started on that, you can also stream us live from the Vegas RC Raceway website, which is thevrcr.com. But first, we have a few things. This is our first week back since Havasu. How are you doing now, Shane?
Oh, I feel a lot better.
Good?
I'm a little under the weather today, I think. But other than that, I'm very well recouped from the race event that we had, and I'm doing okay.
How many days did it take you to get recovered?
I don't know.
Like I
guess I'm getting old, so it was like, 3 days. But I'm kind of used to being out on the road and coming home. I miss the family the most when I'm gone, but at least I get to come home and see the kid and the girlfriend and stuff. So it's good. It's a good thing.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, I know. When I got back that Monday, we opened up the shop. And I think anyone that's one of our friends on Facebook can see I fell asleep while reading the RC Car Action magazine in the pits there. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I came in the next day and you were just done. So was I. You're like, are you all right? And I was like, oh, I'm still hurting a little bit, sun beaten and just weathered.
Yeah, it gets a little rough, that's for sure. But let's jump right into what's going on at the Vegas RC Raceway. Our on-road program with much planning is coming this Sunday. This is going to be our first on-road race.
That's awesome. That's super awesome. Now we always talked about having an on-road thing going on at the VRCR, and that's a pretty cool deal to have both, on-road and off-road going on at the same deal. So
yeah, it's super exciting because, it's not just parking lot racing. We're going to have a 7-foot driver stand. It's going to be a 150 by 40-foot track, asphalt track.
That's a big on-road track, actually. We were just discussing that, and that's a pretty decent size, especially, you're going to have the driver stand, so that helps a lot.
Yeah, people are going to be able to see both sides. And it is behind the Vegas RC Raceway there in our extra space that we have. And the way the building sits, there's no sun for the majority of the day anyways.
That's true.
So it's going to be nice. There's lights back there, so if the sun does start to go down, we're going to be taken care of. I think it's definitely good times. And speaking of Hobbytown, Chuck from Hobbytown, spoke with him a couple days ago, and once to get the on-road program going, we're going to have a point series, an on-road point series.
That's awesome, because Hobbytown, like when I first started racing in this town, like that was the main place to be. They had over like 100 entries on a Friday night there. And if I would love to see that come back into effect, to have that many entries on an on-road racing type situation. Even people with maybe some people that come with their SC10s and their little off-road trucks and stuff like that, they still want to race on the on-road stuff too. Maybe they're not so into racing on the dirt. They're used to going out and playing in front of the street, playing in front of their house on the street, and then this gives them a chance to race. Street.
It does indeed. And with this point series, and we haven't gotten too deep into it because I'm still, breaking the gums here with this on-road stuff. But I think it's going to do everyone a lot of good, going from Hobbytown and then learning about the Vegas RC Raceway and back and forth. I think it's really going to build the community.
I think it's going to get some of the on-road guys into the off-road and then the off-road guys into the on-road, and it's just going to work itself together. And they're both really fun. And if you can drive on-road really good, it's going to clean up your lines on the off-road track, and then it's just
good all the way around.
Yeah, it just makes it happen.
The best money you can spend in RC is practice time.
There
That's
it is.
For sure.
Yeah, wheel time.
And while we're talking about point series here, the Vegas RC Raceway's first annual Electric Master Series is coming up. The flyers are going to be released for that probably Thursday morning. So a little info on this, and I know I haven't told you a whole lot about it, Shane, but it's going to be a 6-race series with 1 throwout. We're going to have lots of cash and prizes, lots of sponsors involved. This is going to be a big deal. If you attend 1 point series this year, this is the one you want to attend.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. I know a lot of people have been waiting for that to happen, and they keep asking me about it, and now it's finally come in fruition. So
yeah, it's
cool.
definitely nice. It's kind of, I promised when we got back from Havasu everything was going to happen in a whirlwind, and I try to deliver between the on-road.
It's tough for you to do everything on your own, and I mean you're like a one-man show down there with a little bit of help from everyone, but it's still, for you to make it all happen, it's tough. And people expect a lot out of you. Say, hey, are you done with this yet? Do you have live RC yet? Do you have this and that? So I know I'm on you about the live RC
absolutely.
thing.
And that's another good point is the cameras are up.
I saw that today.
Yeah, the cameras are up, and we're getting the special cameras for the live RC. And I'm going to do my best to make sure that all my customers and would-be customers have the opportunity to see the Vegas RC Raceway on live RC.
Yeah, a lot of people that haven't been to the track don't even know what it looks like, and they're from Utah and Arizona and multiple places. We've had people from Florida come to the track. So, and they don't know what they're even getting into until they see it, until they see the color of the dirt.
Right.
I think that's a surprise, too, because it's a whitish, grayish clay and not a dark color clay.
Right. Well, you tell people, and you can tell them 1,000 times over, hey, it's 100% clay. It's super high traction. It's unlike anything that's ever been seen in Vegas.
They don't understand.
And they think, okay, here's just another salesman pushing some goods.
Sure.
But if they can't make it down, if they're across the country, they can see it on live RC.
Yeah.
And when you see a car bringing up the front wheels out of every corner, you know it's hooked up.
Yeah, definitely.
Moving on here, we have our segment, RC Insider Jeremy on the line. How you doing, Jeremy?
Jeremy, what's up?
Hey, what's going on, boys? How are we doing today?
Awesome.
Another day in paradise. We got Mikey Bustamante up here, too. He's sitting at the booth with us.
How's it going?
Nice. How's it going, Mikey? How you doing, buddy?
Doing well.
Hey, real quick, while I have Mikey, he's on the phone. He can maybe answer a question for me. What do you think? Colin Herzig just recently left Kyosho and switched over to you guys on Team Losi. He was pitting for Truey this last weekend out here at the Sidewinder, and caught up with him a little bit on Sunday. Is that pretty interesting? You're starting to see a lot more guys kind of take place going over to Team Losi at this point?
Yeah, it's always good to see someone transfer over to the team, but Colin Herzig's a good buddy of mine. We get along real well, and when he told me, I was really stoked. I saw a picture on his Facebook of his buggy, and I was so frustrated that I couldn't make it to Sidewinder to watch all my boys race.
I honestly think that it's a great move for him going to TLR. I had him on my website. I don't know if you saw the whole thing where he talked about going back to Kyosho after JQ didn't work out at the beginning of the year. Right. And I like the perspective of the up-and-comer guys talking about their switches and the transitions. And I think, honestly, with what's going on at Team Losi right now, with their couple guys they have on the factory-level side, and then they've got the solid B team. And I think he fits in with that pack because you guys have Matt Schreffler, Castellano. All these guys that some of them have gone to the Worlds and that are just kind of like the B team, even though they're an A-team level driver. There's just a huge support system, and the mentality of being around those guys at the track. It's a lot. It's more of a feel-good, fun time to be in the pits with those guys than maybe say some of the other teams. And I'm not saying I'm putting any other teams down or anything. It's just the intensity isn't quite there, and actually you can actually grow as a driver. Do you see that, Mikey, by any chance?
Absolutely. I'll tell you what. Going to California and being able to race with all those guys is probably one of the coolest things I get to experience. Not only do I get excited to be able to go and race, but the Losi team, or TLR, we all bond together. We all get together real well. I'm really close with Matt Castellano. Matt Schreffler's my boy. We all get along real well, and we all learn off each other. I race here in Vegas, and it's completely different going to California. So I tell them, hey, this is what I've been trying. And, I learned so much from those guys. Castellano, actually, I think this past year he's been phenomenal. He made Nationals A-Main and two-wheel drive mod buggy. He just did really well at Sidewinder this past weekend. He's been on fire.
I think his new nickname is Fastelano.
Absolutely.
No, and it's true. And what's amazing is those guys, because the focus when you click on Neo Buggy or Red RC or a lot of the other websites every week, you see the pictures of the top 3 guys, even though they might list the top 10 names. But at the end of the day, you don't see stories around the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th guy, especially guys like Herzig, Castellano, Schruffler, that are actually putting up solid runs here in Southern California at a lot of these like 1-day, 2-day races. Then they do really well in the JBRL, but that's it. You don't see it unless they beat the big guys, and it's kind of a shame because it makes me kind of wonder how many of those guys are like that going on over in Europe that are tuning into your show tonight. You know, who are the up-and-comers over there that we never see or hear about because we're always stuck with the Neil Craigs of the world, you know, the Savoyas, name, you know what I'm saying? Does that make any sense, Mikey? I mean, it's...
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I feel like I'm definitely one of those B-level drivers, but to be able to run with those guys is pretty cool, the A-main drivers, and just to be able to be mentioned at races where they're at is a cool feeling. I remember I go on Neo Buggy a handful of times a day, and just to wait to see my picture up there, my name up there is something I always look forward to.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, moving right along, where would you like me to start tonight, Eric, real quick?
Well, we were talking about race updates. Let's get some race updates going. What do you have in mind?
I was making some calls last week after our last show, and towards the end of the week, I found out from some on-road sources that I have that West Coast RC here in Southern California, La Mirada, is going to play host to the 2012 Roar Paved On-Road Nationals. I've been talking with Danny. I've been getting in touch with him the past couple. He told me, he's like, it's not set in stone, but the people that I hear pretty close to Roar have tipped me off and said, look, the Roar Paved Nationals are pretty much going to be going to West Coast. Mike's Hobby Shop out in Texas is going to get the Roar Carpet Nats, and I think that's pretty huge for the on-road industry, getting the Roar Paved Nationals down here in Southern California. You know, Danny's track, you know, he doesn't have a huge weekly following of the Roar Paved Nationals, but or club racing in general. I mean, it's really small there, but I mean the facility is fantastic, and that track is absolutely, it needs to be having a race like that caliber and bringing it back to Southern California. That's the place I would like to see it come. And from what people have told me through teams, you know, on the factory side at other teams, it looks like it's coming to West Coast.
Now, did West Coast have to bid in on that and actually like buy the race? Because I do know that they like
that happens
a track
sometimes.
Has to bid on the event. And
from what I hear, they did, and with Rocket Ron Sure being a part of that facility, he's on, I think, the Roar Regional Committee.
Okay.
And when I spoke with Danny today on the phone, he said he's been working closely with Steve Pond, and I don't know if it has to do with trying to get that race to you know, Southern California, or if it's just working with Roar in general. But I know those guys are all pretty tight on a lot of things. And, in fact, I guess they're leaving with Ryan Cavallari tomorrow to go on a vacation to Hawaii. But Danny hasn't said, you know, yes, if he told me I'd be the first to know if they got it. But I talked to three pretty inside sources that told me that they're getting that race.
It looks like it's going to happen for them then, huh?
If they get it, you know, that's awesome. If I'm wrong on that, then it's my bad. But the people that told me that it was going to La Mirada, put it this way, they race a lot of on-road.
It's definitely the facility for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful place.
Yeah,
it really is.
The place is huge.
Really
they
is.
got on-road, off-road, the whole deal. So
I mean, and they're getting the premier off-road race, you know, in January. You know, I mean, that probably next to an 8th scale World off-road race, that's probably the second best race in the world. It's year round, you know, and that's the race that'll make your career, whether you're a factory driver or a non-invitational driver.
Yes.
But I think it would be great to see the Roar Nationals like that come to Southern California. It's been at, you know, NorCal Hobbies last year or the year before last year, and it's a good race. I mean, it just needs, without, you know, being at the Tamaya track, you know, over there, I think, what is that, Mission Viejo? They used to have it there years ago, but I think, you know, that it's time for it to come back to Southern California. You know,
That's
it's
cool.
just that's one thing I've been working on. Also, I'm hearing the rumors, and Mikey probably knows more about this than I do. X-Ray looks like they're probably getting into the 10th scale electric market at some point next year. Some of their on-road people that work with RC America and X-Ray USA told me they're going to be on the docket to be heading to the Nitro Challenge next year in the Silver State and some of the off-road races. And so it looks like they're gearing up towards possibly releasing some 10th scale electric action.
Well, that's good. That's good for X-Ray, because I know that they make a pretty decent 10th scale electric on-road car, carpet, and asphalt, and those cars are very well put together, and I can see them. I don't know why they haven't done it before. Have gotten to the 10th scale off-road market. I mean, it seems like that's where the money's at right now. And if I was an RC car company, I would definitely be making some kind of short course or four-wheel drive truck.
I can tell you one thing is a few of the X-Ray drivers about 5-6 months ago came into the Vegas RC Raceway, and they're on-road guys, obviously, and they brought some of their off-road stuff that they just like to play around with. They heard there was a new track in Vegas, so they wanted to check it out. And I had mentioned to them about doing on-road in the back of my facility, and they were so nice that they went out there with their on-road stuff. It was dark out. Went out behind the building. They checked everything out for me, made sure, told me what I needed to do, some things I needed to change. It seems like their team guys really have their priorities straight as far as helping customers, just helping people in general. So it's good to see that they're pushing forward into the off-road market.
Absolutely. Drew Ellis told me at the Radio Race Champions this last May when I was up there that X-Ray holds here in the United States 60 to 65% of the on-road market.
That's huge.
Meaning that's pretty much one out of every 3 cars is an X-Ray car. And the thing that I see that they do on road is they've got these X-Ray challenges where they show up at your track. They come out to the different regions, once or twice a year and service their customers, and that's huge. Especially in a sport that's really super small. I mean, you got to keep.
Yeah, you have to have good marketing and good promotions to make it happen.
That's right.
But the thing that I think is pretty awesome right now, and I don't know if Ty Tessman's underrated at this point, but I'm looking to think that he's going to be making a switch to a different team, at the when his contract comes up with Hot Bodies, because if he's going to get into the ranks of always with Mayfield, Cav, and Tebow, and Mikey can probably answer this better than I can, I would think he'd want to be looking to go to a team that offers him 5 different off-road kind of classes to position himself to be with a team where if he wants to because he's coming into the prime of his career, and I don't see that with Hot Bodies where he's going to be able to hit all these other electric races. He has to switch over to run Associated, which I know he has a deal set up with Telke to run AE gear if he wants to run electric. I would think he would be positioned to go to a company that's going to be able to do all that different stuff for him at some point. Wouldn't that make sense there, Mikey, you think?
I could see where you're coming from with that. I know Hot Bodies did have some 10-scale electric equipment out.
Right.
They had a 4-wheel drive buggy and a 2-wheel drive buggy. I don't know why they discontinued them or why they weren't pushing it at the time. It may be because at that time Nitro was the main focus. But I think if they decide they want to keep Tessman with them, that they may start looking towards some electric cars or bringing them back out, or at least working with them to figure out what he's going to do. Because I know right now the demand is electric off-road, or electric in general, really.
Yeah, and Tessman is super good with everything he plays with. I've seen him with the 4-wheel short course, our last, at the Battle at the Beach thing. And the kid is on fire. He puts on a clinic, and he drives everything really well, from his on-road to his off-road to the 10 scale to the 8 scale. And I know that, he's the kid on fire at the moment in my eyes. I just see him at every event and doing really, really well. And I don't think he's a paid driver at this point or on a big factory team budget. So I think that, with Proline behind him and some other people behind him and Hot Bodies for now, I think maybe Hot Bodies might need to step up to the plate, or maybe this year Low C or AE or somebody's going to get involved and want to pick that kid up. I'm sure that's going to happen for him really soon.
Yeah, because everything that a lot of these guys have told me that manage, from the Drew Ellises to a lot, and some of these engine companies that I've talked with Ron Hopkins last week, over at Works. These guys are telling me that if you're going to be into that hunt where Tebow, Cav, Mayfield, and you're going to want to go to that next level and have a shot at what those guys are doing, you got to be on a team that's positioned to run so many classes so that company can have an opportunity to make its money back on you, and you're actually, in demand and selling their product. I don't know what. Yeah. I don't know if Tessman, is selling a ton of Hot Bodies product, just because I don't see, a ton of Hot Bodies cars at the track unless I always see Jesse Robers or Hara or Tessman or something like that. But I mean, I guess there is a percentage of Hot Bodies cars at the track. I'm overwhelmed with seeing a lot of the TLR.
TLR is taking over at the moment.
Really,
this year I think they really stepped up their game. Even in the years past, but I think this year with their new stuff and their new product development and new 10 scale truck on the market, new buggy, I think TLR has really hit the nail on the head.
Right, and finally, one of the big things I want to pin on is I talked to a lot of the local guys here in Southern California in the past week and a half, and the big mantra I'm hearing is at the end of the season, some of these guys on the Kyosho B team, they're going to be switching to look for deals with possibly going to Associated, Losi, just because of the cost of the parts and the equipment, and being a team guy, they can get better deals going to like Game Man Hobbies or Speed Tech.
I've heard this, yeah.
Me too. And it's getting to the point where some of these guys have families, and if you're dropping $300 to $500 like every couple of weeks on parts and stuff, I see it with Zach Rogers. He tells me like the cost of these parts for
they're expensive.
Cars are so expensive, and I know everyone's looking for a better ticket somewhere else, and unfortunately, it seems like guys are willing to, suck it up and take a 75% deal with a different team if they're going to be saving a few bucks. And, right now, if you're crazy not to take whatever Losi throws at you and be on the B team and go have fun and hang out with those guys at the track, I mean, what's 75% with them, it maybe only is like 25% with another team or something.
Well, I think just to be a part of the Losi team in general at this moment, just to get on the bandwagon and be with them for the long haul, I think they're going to be I think they're going to be around for a very long time. They have a lot of new product development and new stuff that's going to be coming out, and stuff's happening for them. Kyosho's always been really good. In my eyes, like the quality of their product is very well, but maybe their factory representation isn't so good here in America. I don't know. I mean, you got Cody King, and you have a couple of others that are very very well trained with a RC car. But I know that Losi has a lot of good. I mean, even B drivers, like you're saying. I mean, there's a lot of big names in their team.
Well, see, and here you touched on a point when you mentioned Cody King. The thing that I've been burning on, and I haven't written a lot about it on my website because I don't want like a lot of backlash. Because the one thing about RC people is they get really upset if I hit a nerve with somebody.
Oh yeah, we hear it every week.
The big thing is with Cody, I'm really surprised. He's the current world champion, and I would have thought he would have had a better placing this weekend at the Sidewinder, and I'll be honest.
Why is that? He's the champion. He doesn't need to do anything. He's done. I'm good. I just come to have fun now. No.
But at this time last year, the guy was hitting on all cylinders.
Oh yeah.
And when I caught up with him at the end of the JBRL last year, going into the World Championships, the guy wasn't. I mean, he was nailing it, from tone to tone at the JBRLs. And this year, when they had the Byron Westerns Cup out here last week at Revelation, I expected to see that, drop the hammer and, I mean, at least win his race. I mean, granted, Lutz won it and Byron, took the win, but I kind of expected to see, at least see Cody on the podium this weekend, just because he runs really well here in Southern California, and I just think even though he's the world champion right now, I still think he is in the shadows of Jared Tebow, and Jared is really the number one on that team. And there's nothing that will make me change my opinion on that. For the sheer fact is, look at what Jared's done this year compared to the wins that Cody's had. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that Jared's consistently traveling and running 5 classes consistently, whereas you don't see that with Cody. And tell me, Mikey, am I wrong on that?
I don't know. Cody definitely has his weekends. Being
right.
Good buddies with him, it's hard. It's hard for me to.
I think everybody does.
Yeah.
I mean, you have good times and bad times.
Exactly.
Everyone does.
I understand that. To say he didn't perform, I wouldn't say that. Everybody has a rough weekend. You make one too many mistakes, you're not going to make the top 3. These guys are
especially
phenomenal.
With that caliber.
Yeah, these guys,
one mistake,
they can run a 20-minute, 30-minute main and have one bobble because they blinked. I mean,
And Jeremy, we got about 60 seconds left with you, bud. Here, did you have anything?
No, that's about it. That's about all I've been thinking about all week. But I'll definitely have some fresh stuff for you guys next week.
Awesome. Well, real quick, why don't you give our listeners your website address?
It is www.rcinsider.com.
Awesome. Well, hey, thanks a lot, Jeremy. We appreciate it, bud. And we'll talk to you next week.
Have a good one.
All right, later.
All righty. Before we hop into our interview, a couple things. If you're listening and you want to call in and ask a question, and we're going to have Mikey Bustamante on here, you want to ask him a question, give us a call at 702-731-1230. If you're getting ready to get out of your car and you don't know what you're going to do, hop on your computer and go to the VRCR.com. You can stream us live. You can also pick us up on iTunes. And before we start with this interview here with Mikey, I just want to take a minute to recognize someone, Bill from BCE Chassis. I know he helped Shane out at Battle at the Beach.
Yes.
And
awesome guy.
This guy, I had a chat with him on the phone last night. What a great guy. This guy is what the industry needs to keep moving forward.
Yeah, he's making it happen, that's for sure.
Yeah.
New chassis developments and new little tweaks and shifts on stuff and just making stuff happen. So Bill is definitely a cool guy. I know he's out of Lake Havasu, but he is all over at the moment, all on the internet, all over the forums, RC Tech and this and that. Definitely cool guy.
Right.
Awesome guy to work with, too.
Absolutely. Yeah, he was a very nice guy. And moving on here to our interview with Mikey Bustamante. How you doing, Mikey?
How's it going, guys?
Another day in paradise.
Right on.
Well, RC Insider there, they had a nice segment, so let's move right along. For those people who might not know who you are, Mikey, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm Mikey Bustamante, 19 years old, born and raised here in Vegas. I've been racing RC cars for about 6 years now. I work at Hobbytown USA as well. I announce the races there and just run the RC counter. I love it.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, and so moving on a little bit deeper like that, when did you start racing? What age was that?
I started racing, I want to say, when I was 13, 14. Back in 2005, I think, towards the end of 2005, I started racing.
And was that off-road right off the bat?
Yeah, straight out the gate, I wanted some dirt. So off-road was where it's at. Cutting Edge had just opened, and right when they opened, I ran my first race. I actually raced novice with a Team Losi JRXT.
Oh, wow.
Truck. It was my dad's truck. I ran the main with the A-arm zip tied on, so it was pretty awesome.
Some Shugu probably wasn't available then.
Yeah,
just put a zip tie on it and go.
A little baling wire goes
send
a
it
long
out.
way.
Send it out. I want to finish.
Well, that's awesome. I know, Shane, you got a question here for Mikey.
Yeah, not only do you drive for Team Losi Racing, but you also work at the Hobbytown here in Las Vegas. How do the two complement each other?
Well, driving for Team Losi makes working at the hobby shop a lot easier. Between the team and just between all the products they have, I know so much about the industry. Obviously, I'm going to push their products at the shop, but there's plenty of other companies out there that we sell.
Yeah, I mean, people come and they're interested in planes and trains.
Absolutely.
And I mean, Hobbytown sells a lot of different stuff there. So you probably hear all angles of everything in RC stuff related. Mm-hmm. And even models and stuff. I don't know if you're putting together little models.
Yeah, I put my time in on the models. I'm doing me a VW Bug here and there.
That's cool. That's cool.
Awesome. Now, when you're now that you're so off-road racing based, when someone comes in and they're like, "Hey, I'm really digging this Hello Kitty dollhouse couch over here," do you dig in on them too, or do you hand them off to someone else?
Oh no, I can handle it. I'm into everything. I do some models, do some remote control airplanes. I love it. Slot cars are big for me. So I do it all. I can handle helping anyone.
That's super cool. Now, like Shane said, they're doing the two. When a customer comes in, do you find yourself? I know you said this a little bit. Pushing them towards that Team Losi Racing product, or do you kind of feel them out, see what they need?
I'll feel them out first. If the Losi product fits what they're looking for, I'll definitely look towards selling that. But if it's not something we carry, or if it's a product that Losi doesn't make, like. Yeah,
they make a lot of stuff.
Do you kind of prejudge people when they come in? Like, you look at somebody come in and you're like, okay, this guy's going to be here for a short course 4x4
You
truck.
can you can tell. You can definitely tell.
Or this guy's a nitro guy.
Yeah, you get your regular
you know?
customers. When it comes down to it, we're just there to make our customers happy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I got to do what I got to do, but there's a couple cars we really like to push that are out there. But if there's a Losi car they're interested, I'm definitely going to keep pushing them towards it. Losi makes some great products, whether it's racing or sports. So
yeah, do you guys have that new Mini 8 down there?
we do not yet. I know we
It's
definitely
not in
have some
stock
on
yet?
order though.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of people in this town because I know that before that was around, there was the little 18s, the little RC 18s, and the mini Ts by Losi.
Yeah,
and that was a huge deal back. I don't know, even 2, 3, 4 years ago. That was the big thing, and now I think that Mini 8 is really going to take off and be a good seller.
18 scale is still really popular. At our parking lot races, we have last week we had a full heat of the 18R, the Team Association 18R
I miss
class,
racing that. I miss it a lot.
It's one of the coolest races. It's a spec class, so it's cool to watch those guys battle it out.
Yeah, stock motors, pretty much stock parts. The thing will run forever. You can ram it into the pipe a couple of times and it will be fine.
Yeah, it's really something. I know Keith Whistler from Losi. He swung one by the Vegas RC Raceway, and I know we weren't allowed to do a product review on it, but he did let me drive it. And some of the youngsters that were there at the track, old James Rashko, we talked about him last week.
Yeah, I didn't get the phone call for that one.
That's right. I think you still might have been asleep.
I guess I missed the boat on that one.
Yeah, I got so excited that I S the B, if you will.
Yeah.
But I had a chance to drive this thing, and when Keith walked in with it, I was like, oh, wow, it's time for Tinker Toys. And then he took this thing out of the box, and I was blown away. I mean, just really, from the packaging to everything, it was neat. I was drawn in, and throws this thing on the track. He had two configurations, one that he had done some upgrades to, and then a box stock one so I could look at them. And we even drove the box stock one, and I can tell you, anyone that purchases one of those Mini 8s is in for a treat. And I know when they become available, Mikey and Hobbytown will definitely have those.
I think that would be a good class.
I think
if
a spec class would be perfect.
Yeah, I think that will be happening. I would almost want to do something like that. I always like the minis, the off-road ones, and the Rs for the on-road stuff. And I definitely think now Losi has finally, they got a product out there that's better than everybody else's 18s and this and that. They have, real shocks, and it's almost like a real car now. It's not just a little tinker toy anymore like you
Well,
you
yeah,
would say.
when you look at it,
it seems built.
Yeah, like
I haven't seen one.
I took a look at it. The
videos.
servo, you look at the servo, you look at the speed control, it comes brushless. It has all this neat stuff. And I know on some of the, I haven't seen a whole lot of the minis and micro brands, but some of the ones that I've seen, some of the knockoff ones.
There's like a Vendetta. There's the Mini T, which was 2-wheel drive back in the day. And then there's, they had a buggy and a truck, I think. And then they has an RC18. And there might be a couple of other ones. Maybe Venom had some stuff out there. Right. But there wasn't anything really cool. It's cool, but it was really tiny shocks, and they would always leak and stuff happen into them and break. You'd be breaking stuff, but other than that, stuff was pretty durable. Now they finally, I think Losi hit the nail on the head once again. In this year's product development, they got something out there on the market that's really good.
Absolutely, I would agree with that. And speaking of the racing and everything here, Mikey, did you start racing before you worked at Hobbytown, or vice versa? How did one come with the other?
I was racing before I started working at Hobbytown. I actually think I may have did 1 or 2 on-road races at Hobbytown while we had the parking lot races going. And one day I kind of just showed up. I was hanging out with my buddy, and they needed him to work, and he didn't want to go because we were hanging out, and they told him to bring me too. So since that day on, I've been working there.
And that was with Chuck there at that.
With Chuck and Scott, yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, those guys down there at Hobbytown, they're a great bunch of guys. It doesn't surprise me that they'd tell you to come on along. So once you went ahead there, they brought you on full time.
Yeah, part time at first, and still part time for a while.
Okay.
Just to be working, I was at the age like 15 years old. I wanted to get a job, didn't know where to start, and then just one lucky phone call, and I've been working there ever since, so it's pretty cool. Well,
that's neat. Already being into the hobby, you're going to a hobby shop all the time, and then to have the person come aboard and be like, hey, come work here, has to be super.
Do you think now that, I know you're doing, firefighting school and training and stuff like that. Do you think by working at Hobbytown has now made you addicted to this hobby, this sport, and now you're kind of a lifer? You know what I mean? Are you stuck in it now?
Yeah, all it's done is make my addiction worse. Not even just remote control cars, the airplanes,
just everything,
the helicopters. Yeah. One thing that's cool is I can go to a track now, and whether it's a low-C vehicle, Traxxas vehicle, associated vehicle, if someone's having a problem, there's a good chance I'll be able to figure it out just because of all the people we get coming into the shop.
Yeah. So do you see in your future, even if you become a hero firefighter and everything else, or factory, team low-C driver on top of the podium every week, do you think that this is something that you'll be around for a long time?
Yeah.
And
I'll definitely
it's stuck in your life ever since you were a little kid. Now that you're getting older and stuff like that, do you think it's always going to be there for you somewhere in the industry?
I think for almost all of us, once you drive RC cars, no matter how long your break is, you're stuck. Yeah. I've got people coming into Hobbytown all the time saying, I did this 10 years ago. And for me, right now I can't get out and race every week like I'd like to.
It's tough.
I've got other things going on.
Sure.
I got a career to pursue. So
sure.
Right, absolutely.
That's number one right now, but I love racing. Every weekend I think about it, man, I should be at the track running right now. I used to go to the track and practice 3 times a week down at VRCR, but kind of slowed down now.
Yeah, once the career kicks in full time there, it's priorities have to come, but RC can always be a part of your life, that's for sure.
Yeah, right. You can always make it happen at some point. It's not gonna be detrimental to your life not to come down, every day.
Right. So it's definitely frustrating, but you gotta make it through it.
Now here's something again about Hobbytown and you is when you're at these big races now. When you see someone having a hard time, does the Hobbytown mode kick in? Do you scamper over there and give them a hand, or are you kind of just focused on your own stuff?
If I'm at a big race, it's a little hard to go out and help everybody.
Yeah, it's tough. You try to focus on your own stuff.
I definitely try and focus on me and my stuff, but if I got all my stuff ready to go and I'm waiting for my next qualifier, if I take a walk around the pits and someone needs help, I'll definitely give them a hand. I remember at Thunder Rally, Chris Morale, I don't know if you guys know who that is. He runs the Palm Desert track out there. He needed a hand tuning a motor. And
was he throwing some tools around and throwing screwdrivers and stuff going, what am I going to do?
Yeah, I gave him a hand, and since then I watched that kid grow up too, and he's running an RC track now. It's phenomenal. I love going out there.
That's awesome. Well, I know when before I opened up the Vegas RC Raceway, I had gone out to Boulder City, which is the nitro track for the Vegas surrounding area. And there was an event going on. I can't remember which one it was. I think it might have been the Resurrection Race.
Resurrection Race that we had up there.
And, I walked up there, and Mikey came shooting straight out of his pit area, walked me around, introduced me to everyone. It was the full treatment.
I remember when me and Mikey, we were driving out to a race, and I think it was Kingman, Arizona out there.
I remember this.
And Mikey says, I got a little secret, but I can't say anything about it. And we were like, what are you talking about? You have to tell us now that you're talking about it. He's like, well, I can just tell you that there's going to be a track opening up here in town, and it's going to be great. And at the time, we were razzing him the whole time all the way out there. He wouldn't give up the information. He's like, you're just going to see it happen. It's going to be off the chart. I'm helping out. Everyone's helping out. Everyone's involved. And I was like, why don't I know about this and what's going on? Sure, you hear rumors, this and that. Someone's going to open up a track. They always talk about it, but it never happens. It's always been a back burner type situation here in town. We always wanted it because at the time there wasn't really anything happening here except for our 8-scale stuff in Sin City and stuff like that. But no indoor facilities were around then, and it was always fun and exciting to hear about something that might happen. And then to know that this was actually going to happen, that the VRCR was going to come to life, was a pretty exciting moment, and Mikey wouldn't let the cat out of the bag. He held true to his guns.
I'll tell you what, it was tough. I had a hard time sleeping at night thinking about VRCR opening up.
Well, I'll tell you what, Mikey was the only person I told for quite some time.
Yep.
And while I was back in the scenes, and I would go around to these different places, and I'd say, "Hey, did you guys hear about the new track opening up?"
Yeah,
just to try
to spread the stir the pot.
Yeah, and you know what? Mikey did better at keeping it quiet than I did. I am definitely a blabbermouth. But it looks like let's see here. Next question is Mr. Shane.
Yeah, Mikey. So how did you get involved with Team Low-C, and what did it take for you to get on the team? I mean, what made it happen for you?
Since day one, honestly, I've been driving low-C vehicles. Like I said, I ran that JRXT at my first club race. My next truck after that was a Matt Francis, the first version. as far as getting on the team, 2006 there was the Team Losi race was actually at Cutting Edge Hobbies here in Vegas, and that was my first what I would call big race ever, and I was extremely nervous. Everybody was calling me like the local
You're the
kid,
local fast guy.
the local kid to look
watch
out.
this kid.
Yeah, and I met Todd Hodge out there, Mike Truey, Billy Fisher, Jesse Roberts. That was the Team Losi team that was out there at the time. I met all those guys, and I ended up doing pretty decent at the race. I won the Sportsman Mod 4-wheel class, and I finished fourth in the Sportsman Mod truck class and fourth in the Sportsman Mod buggy class. And then they had a King of the Hill race to where in the Sportsman division, whoever turned the most laps in the race throughout all three classes got $1,000. And it was between me and Jonah Gallant, and we were pretty close, but I ended up taking it.
You ended up taking the G.
Yeah, so I was already excited about that before the mains had even come along. But after mains, after trophies, I actually talked with Todd Hodge, and he gave me his card and told me to call him. And after that, I think what was my next big race? Nitro Cross 2007. I ran Sportsman out there. I TQ'd a Sportsman 8-scale buggy, and then finished second behind Jesse Robinson. And after that, I emailed Todd, and that's how I got picked up.
Cool.
And I mean, I tell you, when I was typing that email, I was shaking, and I didn't expect an email back because I had sent to other people.
Yeah, you know how it is. Like you'll send out resumes and this and that,
and only
people don't respond back.
I got an email back, but it was quick. It was, I think, within the same day, and I was ballistic. I remember running over to my dad and telling him that I got sponsored.
I made it.
Yeah. I mean, that was my dream at the time, was to get sponsored by Losi. So,
well, to focus on one brand when you got into it, like you said, and to be brand loyal, and then to do well and get noticed by an industry leader, and then send him, your email, your application, resume, whatever it may be, directly, and then to get answered that quick and brought on, it had to be quite exhilarating. It really did.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get to see Todd as much, but I look up to him a lot. I met Todd at that race, and I'd always, as soon as I got sponsored, I'd always wonder, is Todd going to be there? Is Todd going to be there? Now we've got Kevin Gann as the team manager, and he's just as awesome. I look up to both of them a ton.
That's awesome. That's super cool.
That's cool. And if somebody has a phone, I mean, they want to call in and give Mikey any questions or us any questions, please feel free to call in at 702-731-1230.
Again, yeah, that is 702-731-1230. And moving on with the next question here, Mikey. Normally you focus on nitro events, but with Team Losi Racing and Losi putting so much emphasis on their electric platforms, is there an added pressure for you to kind of hit some of these electric races?
Like I said, I started electric racing. I think for the first year, maybe year and a half, that's all I did was electric racing. Right after that Losi race, Team Losi came out with the first 8. And with that $1,000 that I won, I actually bought my kit, my Team Losi 8 kit. And I started racing nitro, then Cutting Edge shut down, so all I did was nitro. Everything was nitro, and all we did was travel, which I progressed the most at that time, but it was tough. I just wanted to race some electric. It's in my blood. So when Team Losi Racing came out with the 22, I was stoked. I mean, especially with the track just opening up, all I wanted to do was run electric. So I feel the added pressure, yeah, because I got one more class to worry about, but at the same time, it's like I'm back at home.
Well, that's good then. So when you were racing the nitro, the electric was always stirring in your blood then, huh?
Yeah, anytime I could get my hands on an electric car at an off-road track, it was awesome. I went out to OCRC maybe once or twice, and I ran out there with a couple of my boys. But another thing I did was race on-road at Hobbytown. I have a JRXS Type R, the Losi car, and I try and run that as much as I can too.
It just seems like it's a little bit easier to plug it in and go, and it's maybe not as much excitement as a nitro car, but I've had some very exciting races with electric. I mean, it might not breathe fire and spit fuel out the fuel pipe, but they're very exciting too. I mean, electric is where it's at, and it's all. I mean, you could just throw the thing out in front of the street. I've played. Back in the day when I was first getting into the sport, I'd play with my on-road car. I'd put some plates out in the cul-de-sac, and I can be out there till 2 o'clock in the morning and not bother the neighbors with the noise and stuff like that. And I was always able to play with it at any point. I mean, any electric stuff, you can't just fire up a nitro at any time. Although I do love my nitro stuff. I love racing that. There's nothing I can compare to that stuff.
Yeah. Nitro was once I started racing Nitro, it was tough. I knew nothing about Nitro RC cars in general, and just to start racing was pretty awesome. I struggled with engine tuning at
Everyone
first.
does, yeah.
My dad helped out a ton, and once we got it down, at that point, I didn't have to worry about, is my motor going to flame out? We just ran, and with my dad there helping me fix my cars, getting them set up, it's so much easier. And without him, I wouldn't be where I was at.
That's my next question for you. Without your dad helping you out, do you think you would have stuck to the whole Nitro thing and everything like that?
Honestly, without him helping out, I don't even know if I'd be right here where I'm at, because he's the one who took me to the RC track that first day. He helped out a ton with the Nitro stuff, especially with the funds in general.
It's definitely good to have your family involved with your racing and your, progression in this sport. I mean, it's definitely a family hobby.
Absolutely.
Without the family behind you, just here like Mikey here, if you don't have dad behind you and stuff like that, I'm sure there's kids out there that do everything on their own. I never had daddy and mommy to help me out with anything, but to have mom and dad behind you, and especially dad at the track helping you out, tuning motors and stuff, it keeps you focused on what you needed to do, was just drive the car.
For him to set down all his interests throughout the house, throughout whatever, riding quads, riding dirt bikes.
Yeah.
For him to set all that aside and say, hey, let's do RC racing that means more to me than anything.
Yeah, and it's safe, too. It's safe for everybody to do.
I had considered racing dirt bikes back when I was younger, and I don't think my parents wanted me to get into that. So once we started doing RC, I got hooked, and he's been there ever since, helping me out, getting my car set up. He's got his own toys now, so.
Has he kind of put you off now since you've gotten a little bit older and you kind of know what you're doing? Maybe even so advanced, your dad?
Yeah, he's helped me learn with everything as far as setting up my cars. He has kind of put me to the side, kicked me to the curb, as you'd say, as far as racing. Every time I go race, at least at a Nitro race, I'll ask him, hey, you want to go with me? And the first question is, where is it at? Because I know he doesn't like those long car drives. But I'll tell you what, I got him out to that final point series race out at Boulder City, and to be able to hang out with him and look down and see him in the pits was phenomenal.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's always a good feeling. And Shane, you got another question for Mikey here.
Yeah, with the emergence of the SCTs in the hobby, short course trucks, how has the average customer in the hobby shop changed over the past couple of years?
It's gone away from Nitro a lot. Electric is definitely dominant. I'd say we carry probably 20 electric cars to one Nitro car right now. But as far as short course goes, it's brought the hobby back.
In sales, you don't get the average guy to come in and buy, asking about Nitro cars for their first stuff anymore, right?
Not as much, and if we do, we usually steer them towards the electric car, because we worry a lot for a first car, for it to be a Nitro car. It may push them out of the hobby.
It might get frustrated with it or something like that.
Exactly.
I think now maybe Nitro is a little bit for the advanced side of stuff. But I do remember there was a time where you would go down to the outdoor track or whatever, or out in the street, whatever, when you see somebody playing with these things, and they would see the electric stuff and go, oh, that looks all right, that's cool, whatever, and just like it would only run for a couple of minutes.
They'd blow it off.
Yeah, and they would blow that thing off. It doesn't make as much noise, and it's not as mean as that Nitro car. And they would run down to the hobby store and buy the first Nitro car that they saw. And now I don't know. I'm not in the hobby store like you are, so I was just wondering, is it more so electric based with sales?
Electric is definitely dominant. The short course trucks have made it that way.
Yeah.
The Slash came out, and we sold Slashes like crazy.
Yeah.
They do. Then the Blitz, then the SC10, XXX SCT, all those cars, that we carry them all the time.
It's blowing off the shelves.
Yeah. Now they have 18 scale short course trucks that are really popular.
Yeah.
All those trucks, short course in general, it's scale, it's realistic. That's what everybody wants. We get out at the Lucas Oil races. They see them out there. They come to the hobby store and say, "Hey, what was at the Lucas Oil race? Where can I buy that?"
What do you think would have happened without short course coming into this hobby, and for you working at Hobbytown? Do you think you still have a job if short course wasn't around?
I hate to say it, but short course definitely saved a lot of us. It's brought so many people into the hobby. From the people I raced with at Cutting Edge to the people now that I race with, it's a completely different crew. There's maybe
different crowds.
Yeah, it's completely different. I think short course is the reason.
Yeah, it's definitely revitalized the radio control market. We've talked about it ad nauseum.
It's just
it's huge. It really is.
But that's where it's at. I mean, this is what's happening in the industry right now.
And in the same kind of facet of questions here, Mikey, with the brushless motors and LiPo batteries becoming mainstream, have the nitro purchases slowed down even despite the short course stuff?
Yeah,
people aren't coming in and saying, give me a nitro car. They're saying, hey, I heard these brushless motors can rip.
The advance of technology as far as
runtime,
all that
has motors
changed it completely. We get people who come in and say, hey, I want a fast RC car, and I show them an electric car, and they're like, aren't the nitro cars faster? And back in the day, that's how it used to be, but right now I'm pretty sure electric's leading the way. So
I know with my 8-scale electric car, that thing can go 100 miles an hour if I wanted it to. I mean, the wheels will blow off the rims if I really wanted it to.
Yeah, it's huge. Yeah. And, that's one thing that some of these companies I've noticed they do is you open up a magazine and there's 75 pages of, hey, our car goes 463 miles an hour.
Scale.
Yeah.
Scale speed.
No, sometimes no.
Yeah, sometimes for real, yeah.
I mean, these cars... And it's a little frightening because now the main question in RC is how fast does it go?
Yeah.
That's all they're concerned with. I don't even think it would concern these people if the vehicle didn't turn.
Yeah.
They just want to go straight in a line. And some of these companies have really taken a hold of that, and it's been possible due to the LiPo and
technology.
the brushless.
New technology. And it's sad for me to see that because I love nitro cars. I love racing nitro cars. I love the sound. I love the smell. I love when it burns my eyes and I can't see anymore from it.
That's
and
not
I'm
for me.
crying.
I like nitro, but I don't like that burn.
I love it. I love it. I think when I can't even breathe, it's just awesome to be on the stand for 45 minutes, an hour in a main and just hearing that thing scream at a race event for all week long. And it's just in my head when I close my eyes at night and lay my head on the pillow. It just doesn't stop. And I mean, it gets to be too much, but then, you come home from that, there's no more of it. It goes back to the electric stuff. And I really enjoy that part. And I really miss, I don't know why, more people aren't into the nitro stuff as much as electric. I maybe if they advance the technology on some of these motors with run times or something like that, I don't know how much further a 2-stroke motor can go. I mean, I know it's coming.
Yeah, it's really, everything's really progressing. And we have about 3 minutes left of the show here, so I just want to ask one last question for you, Mikey. I know that you recently qualified for the Nitro Worlds in Argentina there in 2012. What are you going to do to prepare for that, just real briefly?
I'm going to practice a lot. Whether it's electric or nitro, I'll be at the track as much as I can. Right now, I can hit the track maybe once every 2 weeks with everything else I got going on. But I definitely plan on going to Worlds, so... the closer we get, the more I'll be hitting the track. I mean, that's going to be my focus towards the end of 2012.
Now, that's a costly event for you. I mean, that's going to be tough. So you got to save your nickels
save my
and
pennies.
dimes. There you
save
go.
My pennies.
And then isn't this your first big race? I mean, this is a huge.
Oh, this will be my first race outside of the country.
That's what I was. Out of the country, out of your elements.
Yeah,
different languages and stuff like that come into play.
That's beyond me, but
16-hour flights.
I'm definitely looking forward to it. I really hope I can go. I know my parents will help me along the way, and I'll be saving up for it. So, we'll see.
That's awesome. It's definitely good to hear, and we both definitely wish you the best at that.
Definitely.
And I'm sure we're gonna have lots of time to talk about it before then. All right. Well, I want to thank Mikey Bustamante for being on the show.
Mikey.
We appreciate it, bud. And I know you're gonna sit here at the booth while we finish up the show. One thing that happened this week, real quick, that I want to get into before the music cuts is the Team Durango DEX 210 buggies came into the Vegas RC Raceway, the first batch of them anyways. And I know quite a few of the guys that listen to the program bought these, and I got a phone call today from one of our regulars about putting this thing together. And so our next show here, we're going to do a little review on the DEX 210. We're going to let people know the little problems or little nuances to getting that thing put together. Yeah,
definitely have a review about it and how to build it.
Absolutely, because I know the tolerances in a Team Durango vehicle are very, very tight. So we're going to address that. We're going to make sure that's taken care of. We're going to have more point series info. What else can you think about, Shane?
Well, I could say this much. I want to wish Maximilian a happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday, Max.
We tried to put on a little surprise party for him, and I don't think it was much of a surprise when the balloons showed up. But happy birthday, Max. You're finally getting there.
Absolutely.
You're growing up on me.
Happy birthday, Max. We appreciate everything you do at the Vegas RC Raceway, and we'll see you guys next week on RC Race Chat.
Laters.
Thanks.
Hey, Las Vegas, Dollar Loan Center is sponsoring the Oakland Raider games this season during the broadcast on KLAV. And for every touchdown that the Raiders score during the regular season, Dollar Loan Center will donate $100 to Las Vegas' favorite charity, Opportunity Village. Join your community short-term lender, Dollar Loan Center, and make an Opportunity Village donation today. Get more information on making your donation at OpportunityVillage.org or call Dollar Loan Center at 364-LOAN, and they'll help you out. Go Raiders!
You can feel it in the air. Football is back.
I felt that one way up here.
It's the NFL on KLAV. All season long. Hard-hitting, pulse-pounding, in-your-face football. And your favorite teams are right here. Jets, Bears, Chiefs, Browns, Texans, Patriots, and Raiders. It's the NFL on KLAV. Brought to you exclusively by Dollar Loan Center. Visit them at don'tbebroke.com and keep it right here for dates and times of your favorite games. The NFL, Dollar Loan Center, and KLAV. This is gonna be good.
Just win, baby.
My name is Jeffrey Burke, and I'm the host of the Staying Healthy Show here on KLAV. The Staying Healthy Show is now on KLAV 10 times per week. 10 times for you to hear the best guest in the industry and learn about the best nutritional products available for your good health. You can hear my show weekday mornings at 8 and a new show again at 5. Both shows are drive time for your listening pleasure. The show is sponsored by Stay Healthy Health Food Store, located at 840 South Rancho Drive in the Rancho Town and Country Center on the northwest corner of Charleston and Rancho. The hours of the store are Monday through Friday from 9 to 7 p.m., Saturdays 9 to 6, and closed on Sundays. Wayne Rudolph built his store with 3 principles in mind: great products and selection, a knowledgeable staff, and memorable service every time you visit his store. Please tune into the Staying Healthy Show 10 times per week here on KLAV. I'm looking forward to chatting with all of you and helping you get healthy, be healthy, and stay healthy.
Hi, this is Vandana Chima of Exit Realty Chima Group. Join Brandon Roberts and I every Thursday at 11 a.m. on KLAV for our show, Real Estate Exposed, the Exit Realty radio show, where we discuss all things real estate, including foreclosures, short sales, loan modification, credit restoration, how to buy at the auction, and much, much more. Listen every Thursday at 11 a.m. to the Real Estate Exposed show on KLAV 1230 a.m.
Hi, this is Dave
and Amanda Vaughn,
personal health and fitness trainers. Join us every Friday at 6 p.m. for Forget the Gym Fridays. We will be educating you on all the aspects of the fitness world and discussing what you need to know about your daily workout and the way to tone up.
We'll talk about new diets that are good for you and what to eat and how to eat healthy, even when you're in a hurry. We'll discuss the right way to lose weight effectively and safely. We'll answer all your questions to maintain a healthy and vibrant body. Listen in every Friday at 6 p.m. to Forget the Gym Fridays.
I'm sexy and I know it.
Hi, this is Dr. Annette. Join me every Sunday evening at 6:30 for The Shift, right here on KLAV, where we talk about health and the crazy things happening to your health freedoms. Remember, The Shift airs every Sunday evening at 6:30. For more information, archive shows, and links, visit drannette.com. Spell it all out, DOCTORANNETTE.com.
Hi, I'm Eric.
And I'm Shane.
Listen to Radio Controlled Race Chat every Tuesday from 7 to 8 p.m. for all your RC-related information.
From pro driver interviews to product reviews and tech tips, Radio Controlled Race Chat covers every aspect of the newest sport to sweep the nation.
Catch Radio Controlled Race Chat every Tuesday from 7 to 8 p.m. or stream us live on the Vegas RC Raceway website, www.thevrcr.com. Again, that's www.thevrcr.com.
Hi, this is Kenny Chesney for RAV. There are a lot of things we have no control of in life, but that doesn't include drunk driving. Be smart. If you drink, don't drive. Think ahead and choose a designated driver. Remember, music lives, and so should you.
A public service message brought to you by the U.S. Department of